It's me! Guess who? You probably know. If you do know, please leave a comment. Someone has to just, corroborate my sayings. So, welcome back to another unbelievable but absolutely true, where I discuss, at the age of 23, my diagnosis for pseudotumor cerebri. So, my niece snapped my glasses completely in half because I hid chocolate from her. And my nephew flushed my contacts down the toilet, leaving me without vision correction for an undetermined amount of time. When I did actually go into the eye doctor to get corrected again and get lenses, they dilated and saw something that made them go, go to the ER. So, did that, and that's where everything was found out. Went to the hospital, and they take pictures of the inside of your eyes, and then 10 doctors are filed through, and they look at your eyes, and people look at your eyeballs with a big bright light and get in there, and then you're like, this is not that great. After that went on, and they were like, yeah, we've only found this like recently, and only 5 people have it. Kind of, it was like the beginning. So nobody really knew what to do about it, what was going on with it. It was very, not that I was patient zero, because I wasn't, but I wasn't one of many. So because of this, and because of what they were telling me, and being so young, 23 is not very old, and because of the recent course of events of things and how the setup of my life was, I'm like, I don't got time for that. So I'm no joke. The nurse is like, and this is what's going to happen, and what would you like for breakfast tomorrow? And I'm like, raisin bran and a banana. And when she left, I got out of bed and put all my clothes back on and walked out of the hospital. Didn't get discharged, didn't tell anybody I was leaving, did not call to tell people in my family what happened. Then I just went home. No joke. Like, completely was just like, doo-doo, this did not happen. No one found anything. I'm not acknowledging this. And a few days later, the hospital called my sister and was like, I think we've lost your sister. We haven't been able to locate her. And then she was like, no, she's right here. And hung up the phone. I remember that phone call because in my mind I'm going, they're going to tell her. No, it didn't quite happen that way. So I'm just like, and walked around the corner and kept on doing what I was doing for a couple of years. That was 2 years before I ended up in Virginia. So I was diagnosed, but nothing was actually undertaken to handle it, because I'm like, okay, if I've had this my whole life, the crap that I've been through, the stuff that has already happened, I can do this. And they kind of told me that if I lost weight, if I dropped in size, if I wasn't so hefty and sturdy, that it would be easier to accommodate the symptoms and problems that pop up with this condition. So that's exactly what I did. So when I was very large at that time, Virginia, but from the age of 23 to 25, I don't know how, but I packed on quite a few pounds, and I was probably like 435, maybe more, because scales don't read after like 320. They just go error, like get off of me. And medical scales didn't, I didn't go to, I avoided doctors like the plague, you wear Noxzema, you get some Vicks Vapor Rub, you eat a lot of mint, try chicken broth, like just lemon. I was not trying to go anywhere near a doctor because I was terrified of being confined to a hospital. So I just lived my life like absolutely nothing was wrong. During that, did I mention I went blind? So that's kind of how I was diagnosed. The blindness is how they caught it. But it came back. I got spinal taps. They tap into your spine and drain off brain fluid, and then it stops the papilledema from excessive brain pressure on your eyeballs. and most of your vision comes back, although it's kind of degenerative because the brain pressure wasn't being controlled and it just kind of continued on its merry way for a few years. When I was in Virginia and lost all the weight, I convinced myself that since I dropped it, I was cured. Nothing was wrong. Everything was fine. But I was kind of a workaholic still. Probably only 6 or 7 months. I didn't work 2 jobs the entire duration, but a good half a year or more. It was a minute I worked 2 jobs. I just wasn't sleeping and wasn't treating myself very well. So I think toward end of age 26, early age 27, I went blind again, and that was like defeating because I was at work, doing my work tasks, and I'm just like, oh crap, can't see anything, and just sat down in the floor. No joke, just like plop, and didn't really know what to do, but it was probably because I wasn't sleeping, and I understood what that meant, and I didn't tell anybody. My coworkers and stuff, my boss, my manager, nobody knew. Even my brother at this time did not know. And only 2 of my sisters knew. But it was, yeah, I hid a lot from a lot of people. My coworker at the time came by and saw me sitting on the floor, seemingly staring off into space, daydreaming, and read me the riot act. Like, he had a lot to say. Like, how dare you at work? You can't just slack off and start sitting around. You're supposed to be doing your job. Like, he let me have it. And I just literally sat there just trying to wait for my vision to clear up and come back, because I realized that being on my feet and all the work is probably what caused it. And I, knew I just needed to rest. Fortunately, it actually came back pretty quickly. And so I got up out of the floor, went to the restroom, I think pretended to vomit, and excused myself from work to go home. Like, it wasn't, I don't even remember exactly how things took place after that, but I ended up leaving that job to head back to Maryland so I could have major surgery. Since a few years had passed, I think 5 at this point, because I was, 28, approaching 28. It was the 2008? Yeah, I was 27 still, approaching the age of 28. I had surgery on Valentine's Day, February 14th, which I thought was pretty ironic. I don't know how it's ironic exactly, but it was an interesting time frame. So I opted for the cranial valve because the spinal valve has to be replaced 3 to 5 years. And I think the cranial valve was supposed to be a decade, and I'm like, let's go for the long haul on this one. I didn't know that there were any other alternatives besides spinal or cranial implants to relieve brain pressure. What I didn't quite understand was it didn't cure it. It doesn't cure it. It prevents your blindness because it keeps your brain pressure low enough that it's not crushing your optic nerves, but it doesn't like magically make everything go away, which is my wishful thinking that likes to pop up again. So, I was bald. That's another thing. I had the biggest, bestest, most wonderful, luxurious afro you have ever seen. I stopped relaxing my hair when I was 16. I really did not like relaxers. Pustules, boils, pain, burning, skin peeling. I don't think relaxers were meant to be used on humans. I think it's like a rawhide leather industry byproduct or something. Like, it has chemicals that break down protein bonds in skin, and like, you shouldn't be putting that on you. Anyway, this is how I felt. This is what I thought. I had an amazing afro because I was growing it out for, actually, I think I relaxed my hair again at 21. 16 to 21, relaxed it, and then realized why I stopped relaxing it, and then started my fro over from 21 to 27. So I was pretty not happy about having to shave all of my hair off. I actually chewed out my surgeon. Like, you said you were only taking 1/4. This is more than half. Like, it was unbelievable, but absolutely true. I forgot that this is not a rant and it's supposed to be short and unbelievable, but absolutely true. So let's get back in that one because it's already been 10 minutes. Unbelievable, but absolutely true. Ran away from a hospital to move to a different state. Went blind a couple times. Electrocuted a couple times. I've been chased by birds, bats, cats, dogs, aardvarks. Nah, not aardvarks. Chipmunks. I think a llama. Deer. Snakes. Did I mention? Bats. Like, I had a bat stuck in my hair. No joke. I've run in with nature at very odd points in time. I actually had a squirrel, or a few squirrels, pelt me with pygmy little crabapple pears or whatever they like. It's been an interesting encounter repeatedly with the animal kingdom. Not really sure why animals have a reaction to me that way sometimes. Sometimes I think it's maybe because I was electrocuted. I forgot to tell you that. 19. So I blew a commercial circuit at the pizza place that I worked for, accidentally touching an open wire in a water heater. Anyway, I got very odd reactions out of animals at odd instances and occurrences, and the most epic one I can remember is when I was walking to class. This is after my cranial implant. When I started to attend classes in school in my early 30s, cats, there were 3 cats on the street and I was walking by and they were playing and they frolic and they're in the street and they stop and they stare at you as you walk by and their eyes follow you. Like they were just frozen and eyes deadlocked on me as I walked by. And the lady who was getting out of her car is like, are these your cats? And I'm like, no, I'm just walking by. And they continued to have their head follow me as I walked down the sidewalk all the way. Like, it was intense. And she's just like, I've never seen that before. And I'm like, me either. And then I kind of sprinted. When I was well enough past them, I literally ran away from these cats. Like, I don't know why they were staring at me so hard. It was very unnerving. That has all happened with a deer as well. He was like eating pansies or something, walking down the middle of a street. I walked a lot. I walked to class, I walked to the store, I walked to cut through woods or spaces that probably were not meant for human traffic. At odd times, I have run into some interesting animal situations. Unbelievable, but absolutely true. Oh, the rat snake. That was... Never mind. Sarah, if you remember the rat snake, please leave a comment. I'm going to stop talking now because this is a pretty long video again. Thank you for coming.